In this video, I'm going to fix this TPMS fault in this Tesla and show how you can get this sorted locally and cheaply without sending your car off to Tesla. This Tesla Model 3 is my daughter and husband's new car, and well, you can tell it's my daughter's because it's pink there on the screen. But when they bought it, it had a TPMS fault, and we've got a message there on the screen saying tyre pressure monitoring system fault. And we've also got the yellow TPMS warning light up there. So in this video, I'm going to try to fix that for them. And actually, we've got two faults on this car now. So when you get the yellow warning symbol up there and you see a low pressure here on one of the tyres, you would think that is the fault, but it's not actually. So we've got one tyre which is at 38 psi. So clearly this tyre has probably picked up a puncture in the last few days, but that is not what's causing the fault. It's actually this one down here. And if you notice, that one says it hasn't communicated for 2 weeks, whereas the others are the last 7 minutes. And that is the wheel that has got the problem. So today's job is I've got to look at that front wheel and potentially fix a puncture. And we've got to look at the TPMS sensor in this wheel, because clearly that TPMS sensor isn't communicating. However, when we picked the car up from the garage that they bought it from, it had, I think, 3 weeks passed since it was last communicated. But on the drive back, which was a 3-hour drive, it did wake up and communicate. And they've owned this car now for a month or so. And as you can see, 2 weeks have passed since it's last communicated. So occasionally this sensor does talk to the vehicle. But I suspect the battery is failing in this one. But what we can do is have a look at the service mode and see if we can look into this further. Let me just turn the heating back on because it is very hot in here. I'm trying to keep the fan down so it's not too noisy on the video. We can go to alerts, and we've got 3 current alerts. So when we look at the trouble code, we've got 3 active alerts on this car, and they're all to do with the TPMS. And we can look at the first one, and it's saying one or more of the tyres may be underinflated, and that is obviously this front tyre here. That's a recent problem. Then we can look at the next one, and it's again that same one. Front right tyre might be slightly underinflated or leaking. And then we've got, whoops, pressed the wrong thing. Then we've got that one there, and this is that faulty sensor, I hope. One or more of the sensors or the security controller may be missing or damaged. And it's saying the vehicle has spent more than 10 minutes while driving with less than 4 sensors connected. And we can confirm that down there because 11 minutes ago it could see 3 of the sensors, and it was 2 weeks ago when it last saw this rear offside sensor. This channel has had over 15 million views, yet only has 40,000 subscribers, whereas it should be 3 to 4 times that, because over 90% of the viewers are not subscribed. Please do, it's completely free, it's only a click for you, and it really does help. So I'm hoping by changing the sensor in that wheel is going to sort the problem. So either the battery has gone flat in the sensor or the sensor is broken, and this car has got a set of new Michelin tyres all round, fitted by either the garage who sold the car or the previous owner. It wasn't too long ago, and maybe the garage broke that sensor. We'll see in a minute when I take the tyre off. And I've got a new sensor here, which I bought on Amazon, and it was only £25. And this is a Bluetooth sensor, because later Teslas from around 2020, 2021 have gone from the original 433 megahertz radio sensors to now Bluetooth sensors. And Teslas currently are the only cars that use Bluetooth TPMS sensors. And these have a battery in them, just like traditional sensors, that you can't replace. So normally a sensor will last anything from 4 to 8 years, something like that. And these supposedly are meant to last the same, but actually on Teslas, they don't last quite as long. Even though these don't use so much energy, they actually stay live for longer, and consequently the batteries on these are wearing out quicker than a traditional sensor. And I noticed this on my Model Y the other day because the car had been on my ramp for 24 hours and I removed the air from 2 of the tyres and the car detected that the air had been removed. And the TPMS sensor clearly was still working, hadn't gone to sleep, and the car was still communicating with them even though it was locked and had been locked for 24 hours. So these things, I suspect, aren't going into sleep mode and power saving mode as frequently as the traditional radio sensors were. Also, when you're talking about the life of the batteries in TPMS sensors, everyone talks about number of years, and typically these can last up to 8 or 10 years. But actually it's not time that kills these, it's mileage, because these are obviously awake and sending that tyre pressure all the time the tyre is spinning. So you've really got to look at the mileage of your vehicle, and in this case this car has done 77,722 miles, and we've got the first TPMS sensor fault. So really it's about the mileage the car has driven. So I'm assuming at this sort of mileage the battery is going to start failing in these. So while I'm going to replace one now, possibly I'm going to have to replace another 3 fairly soon. So what I've got to do now is take this tyre off the back here and replace this sensor, and also have a look at this front tyre to see whether this one's picked up a puncture. But obviously you're not going to have the equipment to replace a sensor yourself, so what you could do is buy the sensor, because this is relatively cheap, take it to a garage and ask them to replace that. And most tyre garages will be happy to do that because they don't really want to get involved with TPMS sensors, especially when it comes to Teslas. They're going to say, well, we don't do Bluetooth and this is a Tesla only thing, so you need to get a Tesla. But this is no different to any other sensor when it comes to just fitting them. So there's the original Tesla TPMS sensor. It all looks good, but I suspect this one's just got a flat battery. But I have in the past seen these snapped off where tyre fitters have broke them and they're just rattling around inside the tyre. So with these you just need an 11mm deep socket to undo that valve, and I need both hands to get that out. So that's the original Tesla sensor. You can see it's got a Tesla logo there, and that's my one I bought from Amazon. Absolutely identical, it's just missing that logo. So that's the new sensor fitted, tyre back on, I've just balanced it, and that should come up at 0, which it has. And this front tyre that was a bit low, there's no evidence of a puncture or the alloy being cracked. So I've got it in the tyre bath and we'll just check for bubbles. And if you've got a cracked alloy, a leaking valve or a pinprick in your tyre, putting it in a water bath will find it. But in this case it all looks good. Clearly just this tyre was a bit lower than the others and it wasn't being caused by a leak. And I'll quickly check the balancing on this one as well, as I got the machine, and that is all good. So when you get in, you're still going to have the TPMS fault light up here because it hasn't yet detected that new sensor, so it's still going to see the old fault. So now it's just a case of going for a drive, and the Tesla should detect that new sensor after a few miles of driving. You can actually go into the service mode and force a reset where it will relearn all 4 sensors. But I don't want to do that. I just want to see whether driving will make it relearn this rear one, and then it will sort itself out. So straight away that detected the new sensor. It only took about 30 seconds of driving. And as you can see, it can see all the sensors. The time since last read have disappeared on all of them. So it's reading them real time. And we've got no warning light up here now. So in this case, because of the mileage of this vehicle, one sensor's already failed, so I'm expecting the other 3 to fail at some point soon, and I suspect within the next 6 to 12 months I'll be replacing these other 3 as well. But anyway, it's a relatively cheap job. Those sensors on Amazon were £25, but if you buy a pack of 4 they're even cheaper each. So I'll put the links to those in the video description below, and if you're going to use a tyre fitter they'll probably charge you £20 or £30 each to fit. So it's a relatively simple job to do this yourself, i.e. get the sensor yourself and just pay someone to fit them. rather than sending it back to Tesla. So I hope you found that video useful. If you have, please do click the thumbs up, that really does help. Do subscribe to the channel. Oh, and I'll be making more videos on the Model 3, so I've created a playlist which I'll link below, so if you want to see other videos they will be listed there, but at the moment there aren't too many, but more are coming soon. Okie doke, bye then. If you like the video, please do click the thumbs up button, and leaving a comment also helps too. Plus, of course, subscribe if you're not. If the video saved you time or money, a little support via Ko-fi or the Super Thanks button would mean a lot. There's over 1,300 videos on the channel, so have a browse, use the search, and have a look at the playlists. And here's 2 videos you may want to check out.